Words matter. Obviously, I believe that because I make a ton of videos and I do a bunch of writing. So I'm saying lots of words and I'm writing lots of words. And I'll often get the question, or at least the sentiment of like, you're just thinking too much. You're too worried about the words and the semantics and all that. And I get that. There's certainly a risk of that. But there's a concept I keep coming back to, which keeps reminding me why words matter. And it's, I listened to a podcast today and this concept came up, and it's always coming up. It's this idea, the way people will phrase it is that we, the rhetorical we, often assume other people think like we do. And that causes lots of problems. We assume they see the world the way that we see it. And I get that sentiment, and I think there's truth to it. But I think it's you can go a little bit deeper. It's a little more nuanced, however you want to say it. And I think it's important to get to that nuance. So this ties right into the words matter, but I'll make the grander point as well. I think, the way I think about it is that when we form a belief, we form that belief based on some calculation. And I always say, right, we do what we want to do. What that calculation tells us, we act in accordance with that because, assuming we don't have a mental illness, we're not insane. So if we are thinking about something and A clearly seems better than B in our minds, the calculation shows that, we go with A. So I don't think it's necessarily that I think, John or whoever thinks exactly the way I do or sees it exactly the way I do. It's just that I ran the math and A is clearly better. So obviously I think A is better, right? It's by definition. So obviously I would assume they should think the same because I think it's true. So the idea that we assume people think like we do, I don't think it's that. I think it's we assume we're right. We assume because we're not insane, or we think we're not, that we've done some analysis, we came to an answer. What other choice do we have but to assume that we did the analysis effectively? Well, truth is we have plenty other choice in that, right? We have plenty of choice to be humble, to have doubt, to question, to be more curious and want to learn. But this is where the words matter. I can't tell you how often in conversations, just in passing, right? Sometimes more formal like this, but sometimes just casual conversations, how often people use the words that are more extreme, that are more conclusive, that are more declarative, right? That it's this, or, I think this, or I know this, or whatever it is. And those words, right? What are words? In many ways, they're just a manifestation of our thoughts. What are our thoughts? Well, they're just a manifestation of what we believe. So we may think it's innocent enough to speak in extreme language or use declarative, proclamations, whatever, but it matters because I think that flows both ways. It's representative that if we're speaking that way, that's what we think and therefore that's what we believe, but it also might flow backwards to where when we speak that way, we just assume, well, if I said it, then I must think it and then therefore I must believe it. And all of that to say on this point about, people don't think like we do or we just think we're right, you need to entertain the possibility. The right way to do this, right, and this goes back all the way to Plato or Socrates or whoever it is, right, the philosopher's mindset around this is to have humility, to be seeking truth, not to be seeking to validate or to prove something or to just assume you already have the answer. It's to always question and wonder and have some doubt that I may not. And the words allow you to do that. Or, more importantly, conversely, the words stop you from doing that. If you think and speak in a way in which words don't really matter and it's okay, no, I know this thing or I don't know that thing, again, you would almost have to be insane to question that and to open up and entertain the possibility that somebody else might have information or insights that are different than yours and that are better than yours and that can change your view. So we make this simple statement, we all say it all the time, well, we assume people think like us. No, it's important to understand what we really mean there. We assume we are right? When we think people think like us, we don't know how they think, we don't care. We just assume we're competent, smart, intelligent, sane people. And if we've analyzed something and A is the right choice, well then everybody should see A is the right choice, and if they don't, they just haven't analyzed it properly. We need to pivot that, we need to switch it, right? We need to think of it as, this is my best guess, this is my hypothesis, right? This is what I assume might be true based on this work, right? And then you can get into showing your work and all that. And somebody would say, well, who gives a shit if I say I know versus I think, or I think I might know? Like that's a waste of time. It's not. We need to retrain our minds to think in those terms, to think that there is not certainty. 95% does not equal 100%. And those words will help do that. It's a reinforcement, it's a repetition. Again, it flows both ways. It will send the signal back to our thoughts and our beliefs and our subconscious and all of that, that we don't think in declarative certain terms. We think in doubt, questioning, humility, uncertainty. And that gets us to where we can communicate way more effectively with people. When we have disagreements, it's so much easier to get to the source of it and see where our math doesn't align and how we can get on the same page, because we're not pigeonholed into believing, well, I know something, I'm certain, so nothing I can do.